The Forbidden Bomb. How Israel got the nuclear arsenal no one else can have. In the shadowy world of global power politics, Israel's undeclared nuclear arsenal stands as one of the most glaring and protected double standards in modern history. While nations like Iran, Iraq, and Libya were threatened, sanctioned, invaded, or destroyed for merely attempting to develop nuclear technology, Israel has been allowed, indeed, enabled, to quietly build one of the most sophisticated nuclear arsenals on Earth. The world knows it. The great powers know it. But nobody dares speak it aloud. This is not a legal oversight. It is not a diplomatic accident. It is a deliberate system of nuclear apartheid, protected by the United States and enforced by silence. It is the embodiment of Machiavellian realpolitik. Power justifies itself. Test tube the bomb born in the shadows. Israel's path to the bomb began not through public treaties or national defense debates, but through secrecy, deception, and elite cooperation. In the 1950s and 60s, Israel partnered with France to build the Dimona nuclear reactor deep in the Negev Desert, publicly disguised as a textile factory. After the Suez Crisis in 1956, French-Israeli military ties deepened, and France provided not only the reactor but the technical expertise to begin plutonium production. When American U-2 spy planes spotted the Dimona facility in 1960, Israel reassured Washington it was for peaceful research. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was skeptical but left office before action was taken. His successor, President John F. Kennedy, however, was different. Bomb Kennedy versus Israel's bomb, the hidden war. President John F. Kennedy viewed nuclear non-proliferation as a moral and strategic imperative. He pushed Israel aggressively and repeatedly to open the Dimona reactor for inspection. Kennedy made it clear to Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion and later Levi Eshkol that a nuclear-armed Israel would destabilize the entire Middle East. He even threatened to cut off U.S. aid if Israel did not comply. In a now declassified 1963 letter, Kennedy demanded full transparency. We are concerned with the disturbing effects on world stability which would follow upon the development of a nuclear weapons capability by Israel. JFK to Eshkol. Ben-Gurion resigned abruptly in 1963, and just a few months later, on November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. Detective Did Mossad have a role in JFK's assassination? While the official narrative has always pointed to Lee Harvey Oswald, with red herrings involving the Mafia, Castro, or the Soviets, a deeper and darker theory persists. That Israeli intelligence, Mossad, had the motive, capability, and perhaps the approval to eliminate Kennedy, whose opposition was the final obstacle to Israel's nuclear ambitions. Key facts often cited in support of this hypothesis. Kennedy was the only U.S. president to directly confront Israel over its nuclear program. His successor, Lyndon B. Johnson, immediately dropped all pressure on Israel's nuclear transparency. Johnson reversed Kennedy's foreign policy priorities, becoming a full supporter of Israel's regional dominance. No real investigation was ever made into Israeli intelligence activity in the U.S. during this period. Israeli agents were known to have close relationships with elements of the CIA, especially those hostile to Kennedy's policies in Cuba and Vietnam. Researchers like Michael Collins Piper, Final Judgment, and historians like Mark Gorton have alleged that Kennedy's death was not just a domestic coup, but a foreign-assisted removal to serve geopolitical objectives. Coat Johnson's cover-up and the CIA diversion. After the assassination, President Lyndon B. Johnson quickly sealed records, silenced questions, and conveniently protected Israel from all scrutiny. With help from the CIA and FBI, Johnson's administration promoted false leads, mafia involvement, Soviet sympathizers, pro-Castro Cubans, buried Kennedy's letters to Israel regarding Dimona and nuclear inspections, elevated pro-Israel figures in his administration, including those who pushed for massive arms deals, oversaw the Warren Commission, which focused solely on Oswald and never investigated Israeli interests or motives. Johnson's role in the cover-up ensured that Israel would no longer face resistance to its nuclear ambitions. Whole the Numek affair and beyond. Theft protected from the top. In the mid-1960s, as Johnson solidified the new U.S.-Israel strategic alliance, Over 200 pounds of highly enriched uranium disappeared from the Numek facility in Pennsylvania, run by Zalman Shapiro, a Zionist with ties to Israeli intelligence. Mossad agent Raphael Eitan, later infamous as Jonathan Pollard's handler, visited Numek in 1968. CIA Director Richard Helms and Deputy Carl Duckett suspected nuclear diversion to Israel. Still, no one was ever charged. The theft may have been clandestine, but the silence around it was systemic, enabled by Johnson and sanctioned by Washington's elite. Handshake Nixon and the Pact of Silence. In 1969, Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir met with President Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger. The deal was simple. Israel would not test or declare its nuclear weapons, and the U.S. would never publicly acknowledge them. Thus was born the policy of strategic ambiguity, a polite line maintained until today. Every U.S. president since Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Trump, Biden has upheld this silent pact, ensuring that Israel's nuclear weapons remain both invisible and untouchable. Radioactive, a system of nuclear apartheid. Compare U.S. policy toward other nations. Country nuclear status, NPT status, U.S. reaction. Israel has nukes, 90, 200, crossmark non-signatory protected, armed, funded. Iran no nukes, white heavy checkmark signatory sanctioned, demonized. Iraq, 2003, no WMDs found, white heavy checkmark signatory invaded, regime toppled. Libya abandoned program, white heavy checkmark signatory bombed, Gaddafi murdered. North Korea has bombs, crossmark withdrew, feared, left alone. Israel is not just above the law. It exists outside the law, protected by the empire whose rules it helps enforce. Brain conclusion, a nuclear sword guarded by shadows. Israel's nuclear arsenal is not a secret. It is a state-enforced illusion, kept alive by presidents, spies, and silence. Behind this forbidden bomb are names: Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Kissinger, Helms, Shapiro, Eitan, and every U.S. president since. Kennedy tried to stop the program, and he died for it. Johnson buried the trail. Nixon made it official, and the rest kept the lie alive. The strong do what they can, and the weak suffer what they must. Thucydides. In the end, the nuclear bomb was not just stolen. It was bought, protected, and perhaps baptized in blood.